Hold on before you get to the video. Your boy just wants to shout you out and say I appreciate you oh so much for your support and attendance on this channel dedicated to building healthy, happy, and whole biblical relationships in your lives and in the lives of others. What you're about to listen to is a clip from a previous podcast interview I did with a coach and life mentor of mine covering marriage, dating, singleness, all of those things, even the topic that is being discussed in this video. And if you want to see the full interview, click the link in the description and don't forget to check it out. Catch you over there. So what do you say to the man who says, yeah, I hear all of that, and it sounds like something that deep down I may actually want, but I struggle with jumping through the hoops of thinking about all that a man is at risk of losing. It doesn't seem as if marriage in today's context is beneficial for the man. And of course, you'll hear examples as divorce and what takes place in divorce separations. 50%, all the things are split down the middle, or majority goes to the woman instead of the man. What are encouraging thoughts or something that you would share to a man who has that approach and outlook on marriage, but may in some way, shape, or form deep down want to be married to some capacity?
Another good question. First, let me say that there's no guarantees. I don't care who you marry. There's no guarantees, because somebody can show you one thing today and then be another person the next day. Here's what I will tell you. I think that you have a better chance of being successfully married when you do marry someone who does in fact share your value system. You guys are on the same page, the same trajectory for where you're going, what you're doing. Your household is made up of the same faith. I also would say that when you have someone who is your friend. See, I got some buddies, I got some homeboys, if you will. Today it's my guy. For back in the day, it's just a homeboy. So that are friends of mine. We're really good friends, but nobody's my best friend except for my wife. My wife is my best friend. And I think that if you can make your spouse your best friend, that the person who, no matter what, she should be your ride or die, sir. She's got to be your ride or die. I would say that don't look at what won't happen and what you stand to lose. I think a better question is, Sean, is what do I stand to gain? If I do this God's way, if I do this the way that God intends for me to do this, what now for the person who might see this and say, well, I'm not a Christian, so how do I do this? I'm going to say, then, what are your values then? What exactly are your values then? You're going to have to find somebody then who matches your value system, whatever that value system may be, so that you guys could be on the same page. But for believers, man, I think that when we as Christians, we understand covenant. We should understand covenant promises. We should understand the significance of a covenant. Our marriage is not just a piece of paper. Our marriage is not a transaction. Our marriage is a covenant. It is a commitment to the other person to say, I'm yours, you're mine, we're one another's. And that's on an equal scale. I'll serve you, you serve me. This is what this is about here. I'll protect you, right? I'll pray for you. That's what I was saying earlier. It's a constant exchange of that. And so what do you have to gain? The stability, someone who's there with you each and every day, a partner, someone to pray with, someone to talk with, someone to strategize with, someone to raise your children with, someone for you to understand what the mission God has for your life and their life together, someone who, you plan a future with, that you raise this family with, and that you see down the line. See, this is what I would like for young people to see today. Can I have grandkids with this woman? Do I see me sitting on the porch with her, and we don't have to speak, but we're feeling each other. We that love that's there. We're out in the back. We don't have to say anything. Can I see myself with someone who I don't have to ask for something, and she doesn't have to ask for something, because we've been together for so long, we understand what it means. I got you already without you even asking. I know what you want. I know what you need. For example, I know if I go out to dinner, it does not matter when we are done with dinner. If my wife is away from the table and dinner is done, my wife drinks coffee. So my wife wants coffee at the end of that. I just get her coffee. I know what kind of coffee she wants. I know how she wants the coffee prepared. So I would say, ask, what do I gain by this? Because there's too much now, which I think has infiltrated and filtered into the minds of young men of what do I have to lose. Now, it is hard out there for y'all. I'm not going to lie. It's hard out there for you guys. But the question becomes is, what do you have to gain? And that would be an upfront thing for me. The other thing that I would say, son, is not to marry somebody that you have those doubts about, that you say, I don't see this person as a grandmother. I don't see this person burying my children. I don't see this person being a ride or die for me, having my back, covering me, going down this pathway. But what's to gain, Sean, is so much, man. It's unbelievable. What we have to gain is incredible. What God does in that symbiotic relationship there, man, with between a man and a woman, and how beautiful it could be. The things that they get to see together, somebody you get to explore life with together, share your deepest thoughts, men, deal with your deepest disappointments, and enjoy, some of the greatest things. My wife and I went to Maui a year and some change ago. What a beautiful encounter that we had there, man, in Maui for the very first time. That was for our 30th anniversary. We went, what a beautiful thing to be able to go and be in Maui, man, and enjoy being in Maui. What an amazing opportunity it was to see that. We weren't thinking that 30 years down the road, but there it was. We were sitting there enjoying all of the beautiful view, the food, everything. So I would tell a man today, one, stop listening to all of the people who aren't necessarily believers, and listen to the people that are telling you how to successfully be married, because they're putting out content too. Let's talk about the people that are putting out content that are successfully married, that are doing well, that have made it. So for example, I'm not trying to just promote myself here, but there'll be less people who will be interested in me because my story is boring. And there'll be more people who'll be interested in somebody telling somebody, man, I stand to lose everything. My wife, my kids, my house, everything I worked for. I did. Right. And so, but that's not the language of the kingdom. So the kingdom is different, man. We have to get around what God says. What about God's people? Right? What about the people that are doing really, really well and that are making it work, and their marriages are solid, man, their relationships are good, and they've had those long-term things. That's why I appreciate you doing this show here, because we're not hearing this, man, from other people. Other people, man, are listening to everybody else who's telling you you're in danger as a young person, young man getting married. And there are young women who are buying into the same nonsense too. So they're getting the ideal in their head too. Man, listen, if you want to just get out, because they're expecting you to want to get out. These are not the values that come from the scripture, and we need to really return and put our hearts there. And that's the first place I would tell somebody to begin. Find you somebody whose face is constantly in God's, and it's almost going to be impossible for them to make the decisions that you hear that go on in culture and that are norms there.
Yeah, no, I that was wonderful. I appreciate you sharing that. It came to my mind because we're gonna actually, you're hinting at a lot of stuff that we're about to transition into regarding today's culture. But
Yeah.
I think if you've been following long enough here on the channel, there's been conversations on polarity effect, on what you put your focus on, and why love is scary, right? And really embarking on these two things from that conversation is there's a polarity effect, right? There's a focus. You can choose to focus on lack, or you can choose to focus on abundance, right? You can choose to focus on the things that you are
Like that.
going to lose or you are on without. But we recognize that when focusing on those things, nothing actually comes out of it. I mean, we dwell, we might enter into spaces of depression and overwhelming anxiety, a lot of negative effects that happen to the stories we tell ourselves by focusing in so much on that and zooming in. And what happens when you zoom in on something is everything else around it becomes smaller, and the problem becomes bigger. What you lack becomes bigger. And so we have a choice to focus either on what we lack or the abundance, right? What we have, what we already carry, where we're going, all those things that actually carry benefit, because now we're dealing with what we have, and now we can actually multiply and make something come about it. And so you have a choice in all of that. And so you want to zoom in on what you have, on where you are, and you want to zoom in on the things not just illustriously extremely positive to the point where it's unrealistic, but we want to make it known, just as Demetrius mentioned, right? Like, there are so many people that are putting out content that are beneficial to the ears, that are telling you the positives, the good, healthy things that come out of marriage that Red Pill and all these other types of communities won't tell you. Because as we've shared here, it's a lot of fear there, right? And it's not even necessarily to belittle or dunk on anybody of that community, because that's not our purpose here. But it's important to understand where that context comes from those broken experiences, and those walls that are put up as a result, right? And so
Yeah.
we learn to those responses. So recognize that there's a polarity effect. Recognize that you can pour your focus anywhere, and what has your attention is ultimately what you can become.